Hi, my name is Carrie Locken with Coordinations Color Core Cardstock. Today I'm going to show you some very simple, basic techniques that you can use with our cardstock. And if you've never used the coordinations before, then these will be techniques that you will come to use often when you are creating your pages or your various projects. So what we're going to do today is we are going to create this monochromatic layout. The simple techniques that we're going to use are some paper tearing, as we've done on these 3 different pieces of cardstock. We're going to tear an object, which is, in this case is a heart. We are going to do some scoring and some embossing. So let's get started. So what we're going to do first is I've pre-cut some blue cardstock, and you'll notice on my layout that I have kept the colors the same with the blues. And in our cardstock, with these handy little swatch books that we have, you can pick out a certain color that you want to use, and in my case I use the blue. And there are different cardstocks that we have, and this is the core, our essentials, and then we also have some black magic, some whitewash, some vintage, we have a glitter cardstock, and some gemstones. There are a lot of different varieties to choose from, so it makes it creating a monochromatic layout a lot of fun. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to emboss this strip of cardstock. And in this case, when I'm embossing these long strips, you don't have to worry about where it's going to meet up, because what I've done is I have created another wide strip where I'm going to put my photo, and it goes right across these little pieces, these slender long pieces. So if it doesn't match up exactly, that's all right. So when you're creating your pages, it's sometimes a good idea to keep that in mind. So I'm just embossing this. And then what I'll do is I'll flip it over. And I'll just kind of line it up the best I can. Again, remember I said it doesn't really matter because we won't see it. So once you've got it all embossed, then I take my sanding block and I lightly sand over the image. I like to keep my paper on the table. As you see, I took it up, and it's not generally how I do it, but so once you've got it sanded the way you like it, until you see enough of your image, then I just take my Dust Buddy cloth and clean it all off. Now, these cloths come in a package like this. And a little tip that I've used is I will take it out of the package. It's a big, big cloth, and I will cut them into little strips. That way I have longer life with my package. So this is what our embossed strip will look like. Now what we're going to do is some basic tearing. And all I've done is I've torn the top line and the bottom line of these blue strips. Now remember, when you're tearing towards you, to tear towards you. That way you will bring through the color of the core. So we're always tearing towards us. And then we've created one of our blue strips, and then you will do that 2 more times with 2 other colors of your choosing in different collections. Now our next object to tear is this heart shape. I know some of you are probably thinking, oh no, I don't like tearing in shapes. It just takes a little bit of practice, and you just have to do it over and over. So again, tearing towards you. I'm going to show you another tip after I've done this one. For those of you that don't like tearing freehand, and we'll just keep tearing towards us. And there's our heart. The other tip is to lightly pencil the design on the back of your cardstock. Now, when you're penciling it on the back of your cardstock, you have to remember to tear away from you this time. So as we tear away, and there's our simple little heart. So either way will work. So now what we're going to do is some embossing. And what I've done on the corner of each of these corners is I've used my stylus and my paper trimmer. A very simple way to do scoring. Another way is to use your scoreboards. So what I'm going to do is I've scored 3 lines. With this cardstock, the Black Magic, it's so much fun because it's black on one side and then colored on the other side. And you can see what colors they are at the bottom with the strip here. So what I've done is I've picked the blue again to fit with my theme. Now when you're making scored lines, you have to remember to flip your paper over and do it on the back side. So my first line is in a little bit further than the other 2 lines. So what you're going to do is make sure you follow where that cutting channel is and line your paper over that. So then I take my scoring tool, my stylus, and just run it along that channel until I have a line that goes right across my page. I will do it again 2 more times so that I have the design that I want. So these next 2 lines are just a little bit closer. Alright, so we have those lines done. Then you're going to flip your paper over again and lightly sand it. And there we go. There's our lines. Isn't that beautiful? What I've done with my layout is I made those lines in all the corners, but I also sanded around the edge just to bring that blue through. So this is what you would create with your little strips, the blue strips, your tearing of your hearts, and the scored lines in all the corners. Thank you for taking time to watch this video on basic, simple techniques with a monochromatic flair. We look forward to seeing what you create with Coordinations.